Yes, sir. Welcome in MMA and UFC fans from across the globe. It's your boy D Scott coming in with Hardcore Casuals MMA. First video, first channel. Let's go. We're breaking down UFC 319 and giving our picks from the early prelims on to the main event. Let's get it. First up on the early prelims, we have Levy Idris versus Joseph Morales. This is the tough finalist competition for the winner of the tough Daniel Cormier versus Chael Sonnen. Idris is a great fighter, very well-rounded, dynamic, super good in the striking. Likes to finish fights with his hands and TKOs, knockouts. Joseph Morales, on the other hand, uses his wrestling and grappling and likes to go for submissions as his path to victory. He's also decent on the feet, but not anything great to brag about. Has the fundamentals, has what seem to have on paper the advantage due to his current UFC experience. I think he fought 3 fights in the UFC previously before being cut, and now is on his second stint in the UFC trying to make a name for himself. But all around, I think Idris will probably finish this fight and take the win. He's just too dynamic, I feel, on the feet, and their grappling abilities will probably cancel each other out, and it'll be a standing battle. So I'm going to go with Idris on this one. Next up on the card, we have Kareem Silva versus Dione Barbosa, which will probably be mostly a grappler versus grappler battle. But they both do have decent stand-up. Kareem Silva is a little more sloppy, but carries a little power in her punches. She has the ability to knock down other female fighters. Also, so does Dione Barbosa, but she doesn't have as much power as Kareem Silva. But both of these fighters probably will be trying to go for takedowns and submit each other. The problem with that is Kareem Silva's takedown defense is not that great, which she was exposed by Vivian Araújo in her last fight, getting taken down like 3 or 4 times. She had tough time getting back to her feet, and Araújo dominated the fight basically. So with this fight, I'm a favor Kareem Silva just because of the power, and that's who we'll go with. Next up on the card, early prelims, we have my fellow North Carolinian, repping the 704, training out of Charlotte, North Carolina, Brian the Butcher Battle versus Sultan Ruzaboyev. Brian Battle is mostly pressure fighter. He likes to drown his opponents with volume. He's very good and well-rounded, uses his wrestling, clinch, knees, and stand up to throw strikes and put volume on fighters and drown them out. He's very good at putting volume and nullifying strikers by getting into the clinch with them, getting up against the cage, going for takedowns, and also throwing punches. He loves those knees. Ruzaboyev is mostly striker. Had trouble with the wrestling against Joaquin Buckley in that fight. He struggled, and Joaquin wrote him out to a decision. Ruzaboyev also is a good striker, decent in the stand-up, has good power, and has good potential to finish on the feet if he's able to catch his opponents. But Brian Battle is a tough fighter. He's resilient. He has a good chin, and I don't know if that's gonna happen in this fight. So I'm probably gonna favor Brian Battle in this one, not just because he's a fellow North Carolinian, but because I feel like he has the tools to beat Ruziboyev in this fight. It'll probably be a good fight, probably be a banger. May last a total 3 rounds. Could end early, but we'll see. Moving on up the early prelims, we had Edson Barboza versus Drakkar Klose. Barboza is an OG veteran in the game. Also, Drakkar Klose is as well. But Edson Barboza in his prime was a hell of a fighter. One of the best lightweights in the game in his prime. Has fought the who's who of lightweights with the names of like Justin Gaethje, Shane Burgos, Dan Hooker, Kevin Lee, Khabib. Pioneered calf kicks, has a hell of a calf kick, spinning kicks and head kicks, strong, powerful, quick. Drakkar Klose likes to use his wrestling, especially being that he's not that technical, not that great on the feet. He likes to use his wrestling to offset, the striking of other opponents. If Barboza was in his prime, there wouldn't be a doubt in my mind, that he would win this fight. Although he has declined, and this is lower competition than he normally face. I'm still gonna give the advantage to Barboza and predict him to win this fight. Next up, the first fight of the regular prelims, we had Chase Hooper versus Alexander Hernandez. Chase Hooper, although he's been in the UFC for quite some time, since 2017 to be exact, he's still a young fighter and still since 2019, still coming into his prime. He's looked very good as of lately on the 5-fight win streaks, beating some decent competition. Jim Miller submitted Clay Guida, and won a couple other fights. But Chase Hooper is known for his jiu-jitsu and submissions, but he's been working on his stand-up and is looking pretty good as of late with his striking. He's a heavy favorite against Alexander Hernandez. Minus 350. I think he should be less of a favorite, but do agree with him being the favorite. Alexander Hernandez just, hasn't been very consistent. He's a good striker, has good power on the feet. Likes to use his wrestling. He also can go for subs. He's well-rounded, but not fantastic in any area. Won his last 2 fights, but this one, I'm gonna go with Chase Hooper, the young surging prospect. Momentum's on his side. I'm gonna go with Chase Hooper. Moving on up on the prelims, we got Jessica Andrade versus Lupe Cortinas. Yes, sir. This will be a good little female scrap. Jessica Andrade, if you didn't know any better or wasn't a big fan of the UFC, lately you probably wouldn't know that she was strawweight champion and beat Rose Namajunas for the belt. Powerbomb Rose Namajunas on her head and knocked her out. It was a nasty TKO. But Andrade is mainly a striker. She throws wild hooks but has good power. The problem is everybody knows her game and knows what she's gonna do, and coaches can plan for it. Sometimes if a fighter, isn't athletic or fast enough or, technical, move their feet, they she can overwhelm them and, pressure them, get a takedown, submission, or overwhelm them on the feet with her big hooks that she throws all the time. Lupe Godinez, she's also a UFC veteran. Next up on the prelims, we have Gerald Meerschaert versus Mikhail Olajaychuk. Both of these guys are veterans. Meerschaert's been in the UFC since 2016. Olajaychuk came in 2017. To combine, they have a plethora of fights, status, OGs. Meerschaert is more of a grappler. He likes to try to find submissions. He's very durable and can strike on the feet. Can't take a lot of damage. Mikhail Olajaychuk, on the other hand, is a striker. Heavy hands. He can throw bombs and possibly get Meerschaert out of there. But like I said, Meerschaert is very tough. These are two very seasoned veterans in the game. For this fight, I think I'm gonna go with Olajaychuk. He's 3-1 in his last 4 fights. Meerschaert is 2-2 in his last 4 fights. But I think Olajaychuk has had a little bit stiffer competition. But yeah, for this fight, we're gonna go with Olajaychuk. Last fight of the prelims, we have Basanger Sasarakayev. Forgive me if I murdered that name. It is a difficult one. Basanger Sasarakayev versus Eric Nolan. This will be both of these fighters' first fight in the UFC. Sasarakayev just fought earlier this week on an episode of Dana White's Contender Series. Got a devastating TKO. And he is known for finishing his fights. His recent fight earlier this week on the Contender Series, he finished his opponent with a front kick to the liver. It was over. But Eric Nolan, on the other hand, I don't know a whole lot about. He did fight for the championship in the last promotion he came from and won. But I haven't seen any footage of him or any of his fights. So just due to hype and Sasarakaev's recent win on the Contender Series and him being asked to join UFC 319 the week of, I'm going to go with Sasarakayev on this one. Now on to the main card. And kicking off that main card, shit is starting to get real. We have Tim Elliott versus Kyle Sakura. Tim Elliott, scrappy vet, throws punches and bunches, loves to throw strikes to set up his takedowns and wrestles. Stays in motion, good pressure fighter. But he's an OG vet. Past his prime, but still pulls out victories here and there, depending on the competition. Also, we have his opponent, Kaya Sakura, Japanese phenom, social media star, and this will be his second fight in the UFC, coming off a loss to the champ, Alexander Pantoja. Asakura got a title shot with his first fight in the UFC, coming from the Japanese fighting organization Rising, where he did fight former Rising contender Manel Kape twice, and they split those fights 1-1. Kyle Sakura is a fast, very quick, lightweight, flyweight, which most flyweights are, but Kyle Sakura is very, very quick. He's known for throwing those timing those flying knees and catching his opponent. He actually caught Pantoja with one of those flying knees, but Pantoja is just such a fucking beast that he ate the knee and took Asakura down anyways, and then finished him. So Asakura has good striking, good knees, throws fast punches and combinations. I pretty much think that Tim Elliott won't be able to take Kai Sakura down as much, even though his takedown defense did not stand a chance against Pantoja. But there aren't many flyweights that can resist or stop Pantoja from taking him down in his relentless efforts to do so. But in this fight, I'm gonna go with the young bull Kai Sakura to get the victory. This fight could end up in a decision, but I'm betting that Kai Sakura will get Tim Elliott out of there in 3 rounds. Next up on the main card, another banger. Jared the Killer Gorilla Cannonier, a staple at middleweight, versus Michael Venom Page, also known as MVP. Jared Cannonier is a huge chisel middleweight, very powerful, strong, has decent footwork, great punches, drops bombs, has the ability, if he lands, to get any fighter out of there in the fight. But the problem is, MVP, he has that point karate style, bouncing up and down, similar to Stephen Thompson, very similar, but I'd say MVP's a little faster and a little bit more powerful than Stephen Thompson, and he doesn't throw quite as many kicks as Stephen Thompson does at times. But I'll say MVP is probably a little more elusive from what I've been seeing with him in the PFL before he came to the UFC, and in the UFC, he is hard to hit. His previous fight against the upcoming phenom and prospect Char Bullet, he couldn't lay a finger on him almost, and MVP just bounced in and out, landing his strikes, tacking on the damage. He went for an electrifying finish but couldn't quite get it, and rode that fight out to a one-way traffic lopsided decision. I will say that Jared Cannonier definitely has more than a puncher's chance to win this fight. If he's able to touch MVP and able to accumulate some damage and just land one good strike, he could possibly TKO Michael Venom Page. But I'm going to lean towards MVP pulling this one out. I don't think he'll get the finish, but probably will ride it out to a decision. This is going to be an exciting fight. Make sure you watch this one. Moving on up the main card, more must-see TV, and another certified banger. Geoff Neal versus Carlos Prates. Geoff Neal's a striker, kickboxing, very bladed stance. Has great combinations and movement, but very rarely does he use kicks. He's able to really accumulate a lot of damage on some of his opponents if he's able to get to him and close the distance. Not the most durable, but he can take some punches. Very good fighter. Love seeing him fight. Always has good scraps, especially against other strikers. He even has a TKO victory against former champ Bilal Muhammad. It's gonna be a fight to watch. And on the other hand, his opponent, we have Carlos Prates, a part of the amazing Fighting Nerds camp out of Brazil. They have been doing big things in the UFC. I mean, most of their fighters are killing it, especially the original fighters. Maurice Rufio and John Silva are incredible fighters, great styles, love to watch them. Next level striking, accuracy, great fighters. Carlos Prates, I would say, is probably the least talented out of those three, but still a hell of a fighter. Has incredible knockout power. I mean, sometimes he's like the middleweight version of Alex Perez. Sometimes he just touches people and they fall. And he's always looking for the finish. Muay Thai background, mainly, definitely a striker. Likes to use his teeps and long-range weapons, throwing a lot of straights and crosses, uppercuts. This is going to be a tough fight. I don't know if Geoff Neal can take the damage or be evasive and avoid the damage that Carlos Prates is most likely going to put on him. This will be a good fight, but I'm leaning towards the younger, more exciting fighter, Carlos Prates, and it will be a finish. I'm almost certain of it. If not, I'll be disappointed. Moving on up the main card, our co-main event of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. We've got Lerone Murphy versus Aaron Pico. Lerone Murphy, a 16-0 prospect, just beat Josh Emmett in his fight before this one. Very technical, great striker, kickboxing background. Loves to sit back on the outside, counter, and very tactical. He has the ability, to adjust his game plan mid-fight, change up what he's doing. Great strategic fighter. I wish that he would go for the finish a lot more. I think his style is sort of Volkanovski-ish, if I can say. The way he, is tactical, kind of throws feints. I don't think he's quite on Volkanovski's level yet, but with more experience, he may get there. He is a good prospect. And this fight is going to reveal a lot about him or either Aaron Pico. Aaron Pico, on the other hand, coming from Bellator, Henry Cejudo, Triple G is very high up on this guy. He has a hell of a manager with Ali Abdelaziz. I don't know what it is about Ali, but these fighters love him. He's actually able to work out some miracles sometimes. Aaron Pico, coming straight from Bellator, able to get a co-main event on this huge card for his first fight in the UFC is incredible. However you might like or dislike Ali, he does his damn thing when it comes to this managing fighters, for sure. But Aaron Pico is a good fighter, carries power, likes to box, throws a lot of body shots and mixes it up, mixes in his wrestling as well. Has a bunch of finishes in his career. So this is going to be a good fight. My only discrepancy is lately a lot of these fighters coming from different organizations to the UFC, performances have kind of been lackluster and not lived up to the hype that they were given before they entered the UFC. Some of these fighters like Pitbull, I feel like, should have been in the UFC a lot sooner. But the way the UFC is now, they still have a lot of good fights to put on, but not as many as in recent years. And they're more readily bringing over other fighters from different organizations. And I think either that's because, a lot of these organizations have crumbled, or that, UFC really needs the talent to be able to put on more fights. Either or, could be both. Although Pico is a great fighter, it's kind of hard for me to see him being able to outclass and beat Laurent Murphy. And I don't know if it's my bias against, all the latest performances of these fighters that come outside from different organizations, or if it's just that Laurent Murphy is that good. And that's the thing that I absolutely love about this sport and individual sports. You walk away with your questions about each fighter and a performance answer most of the time. And you know where each of them stand. There's no excuses. And you move forward from that. But I'm going to go with Laurent Murphy to probably get this one. Probably be a decision, but there is a case for Aaron Pico, and he could very well beat Laurent Murphy by decision or TKO, so I definitely wouldn't count him out. And last but not least, the main event of the evening. We got Dricus still knocks Du Plessis. The realest African in it. You already know. Got African of the Year 4 times in a row. Versus Kamzat, Boyshot, Chimaev. I'm going to kill everybody. I'm going to kill them all. I am hella excited about this fight. Can't wait till Saturday for this to kick off. We got Dricus Du Plessis, the reigning middleweight champion who has burrowed his way through all the contenders. From the likes of former middleweight champions Israel Adesanya, the Style Bender, Sean Strickland, Robert Whitaker, Derek Brunson, Darren Till, in the top of the middleweight division. Dricus has continuously proven me wrong, proven a lot of other analysts and spectators wrong with his uncanny and awkward style, but he gets the job done. He is the definition of resilience. His awkward style is just something to behold, but along with that style, he blends it all together. I mean, it's awkward as fuck, but he gets the job done every time. And sometimes in devastating, electric fashion. Dricus Du Plessis, he's just one of those anomalies that, he doesn't have the cleanest, crisp striking, but he gets it done. He doesn't have the most fundamental wrestling and jiu-jitsu, but he gets takedowns. He winds up on top. He's just one of those fighters. And he slowly but surely turned me into a fan. Like, at first, I really couldn't stand Dricus. I was like, this guy keeps winning. What the hell is going on? He will never be champion. But he's made me eat those words, and I'm a fan. I can't hate anymore. He is like that. But on the other hand, his opponent, Kamzat Chimaev, is another electric talent. Just crazy pace, crazy work ethic. You could compare his wrestling abilities to the likes of Khabib Nurmagomedov and his cousin Islam Makhachev. Merab the Wallace Willie type pace. He gets the job done, and more times than not, under a round. He came on the scene during COVID and blew up. I mean, taking out fighter after fighter, fighting constantly. I mean, I think he fought like 3 or 4 times in 1 year. But since then, he's worked so hard that he's presented himself health issues, working out during COVID, during having COVID, still working out. Like, they have to hire a man to stop this dude from working so hard, not to motivate him to keep going, but to stop for his health. So that doesn't tell you what type of fighter we have and what type of fight we have on our hands, then I don't know what else to tell you. Chimaev has also had a great strength of schedule. Undefeated thus far. Nobody's been able to stop him. Although his decision win over Kamaru Usman, a lot would say was controversial. Or most would maybe say it was a close fight, and Chimaev edged it out. He's fluctuated between middleweight and welterweight, but still has beat some talented fighters, and quite frankly, for the most part, made it look easy. I mean, elementary. Putting belt to ass, quite literally. But this is a hard fight to call. Quite literally, I believe legacy is on the line for both of these fighters. If Dricus du Plessis gets this win, I don't know what else to say. He could be on his way to being, mentioned and start to be mentioned in the likes of Israel Adesanya, the middleweight GOAT, Anderson Silva. Quite frankly, he will stir up those talks with a win over Khamzat Chimaev. Also, with Chimaev getting this belt, being able to dispatch Dricus du Plessis will also, help cement his legacy, and he still has a lot of work to do, and both of them as well, but they'll be in the talks for sure. Chimaev is talking about going up a weight, trying to get the belt, going down the weight, trying to get the belt. He's just hungry, but this is a tough fight to call. I don't know which way to go. I'm back and forth. At the end of the day, I think I'm gonna lean towards Chimaev getting it done. A lot of people have said, like, the longer the fight goes, that they favor Dricus, and I'm on that same boat. But also, Dricus's wrestling defense is very sloppy, and he has improved a great deal, but he's not fought many wrestlers and grapplers as of late, so we don't know. We have yet to see. This fight is going to tell the tale. So I think Chimaev will probably control him and end up submitting Dricus, but it is just as much of a chance that Dricus could possibly wear out Chimaev and finish him, but I'm gonna lean towards Chimaev, and that's gonna be my pick. And that's my breakdown of UFC 319, Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. If you stayed this far and watched the whole video, much love. Thanks for the support. Please like, share, subscribe, pass it on to your friends. Leave some comments down below. Let me know what y'all think about these fights in the main event. Let me know your opinion on the video or any critiques. But we're on the road to 1K. Trying to get these subscribers up, get this channel going. I think my next video will be best, most exciting upcoming fights. Look for that here in the near future. And that will conclude my first breakdown on hardcore casual MMA. See ya.